Well, you are doing well. So I'm going to go back to the pyramid. So this is what we are dealing with. We are dealing with formula. Formula that will help put your life together and organize your life in such a way that you'll be able to touch your life on a daily basis. So, and so the formula is 6 steps formula. And we've already covered two first steps, right? So right now we are going to be going for the 3rd step in this pyramid. So we have dealt with the main values of life. We've dealt with global life purpose. Now we are going to start the 3rd step, the 3rd level in our general plan in our pyramid, which is the general plan. The general plan. So what is general plan? So we've spoken about the mission, the obsession of your life. Then we've spoken about your universal, or what do we call it? Global purpose. Then we are speaking about the general plan. So global purpose, you already know what that is. It's more specific. It's not just your obsession. It's not just your mission in life. It's more than that. It's more concrete. It's your global purpose, your own, concrete, which is different from all others now. And then now that global purpose, you've got to break it down. You're still working with your purpose, so we are breaking it down. And the beginning of that breakdown, you don't just break down to every day immediately. The beginning of that breakdown is to even find, it's also self-inventory, to find out what do I even have. So now I've understood and I've outlined what I want to do, what I believe that God wants me to do. Those are lofty goals, right? You've written down, you've said, okay, the great things you want to do for God. Now, so this question, general plan, is when you answer the question, so what do I even have to bring this lofty purpose to pass? What do I have? What do I possess? What are my possibilities? What are my resources? So this is a question of resources. Probably going to be the most challenging part. Also, but the most revealing part. The most, maybe glorious discovery for you. So please, if you are watching this program, go share the message with your friends and family members. We are going to go nuclear now. We are going to go to another realm now. So from what I've read in the comments that what the people were writing, and from what I've heard here, we really need to pay a lot of attention, because from people's feedbacks, this is not what they have been taught before. Yeah, it's totally different from the way they've been taught. So we need to pay attention to be able to really get the message. So the general plan is?
Number 3, general plan. General plan is closely linked with the global purpose. If the global goal is to affect 500 million people, the general plan will show how it will be done.
So now you understand the general plan is coming from the global purpose. So you now know you now know the global purpose in figures. So it's not just in description, but you know it was 500,000. So 500 million. So now the question is, where will I get that from? How? So now you could also use that to, think of your own, where you are, whatever you have written or whatever you want to do, and now try to answer the same question: how? What do I have to really make this happen? Of course, you will never have enough. You're going to always have less than what will be needed to do what you want to do. But at least whatever you have, your 2 fishes and 5 bread, you can bring it to God and then trust Him to multiply that and open other doors for you. So that's where we are. Can we start all over again?
Number 3, general plan. General plan is closely linked with the global purpose. If the global goal is to affect 500 million people, the general plan will show how it will be done. The goals can be achieved in 20 years or in 10 years. The purpose of the general plan to determine what key factors the man has to achieve the goal.
What he has to achieve the goal. So if the global goal is to affect 500 million people, the general plan will display how it will be done. So how will it be done? What do you have? What are the resources you have to do it? The goals, okay, we are talking about 25 years. So the goals, but we are talking about actually that other goal, that's under 500 million, it's for your whole life. But because of our lesson, so let's put it at 20 or 25 to 25. It could be 20 years, 25 years, 10 years. The purpose of the general goal, let's just say 25 years there. Then the purpose of the general plan is to determine what key factors the person has, or not factors, that's not the right word there, what key resources the person has to achieve the goal. So key resources. So do you have coffee there? For everybody, because this you will need it to be alert again. Like last night, you will need to be alert. Get your coffee, get your candy. Not after. We want it earlier. Let it be okay. Maybe after, but the faster the better. Okay, so
components of the general plan. In drawing up the
so when we are talking about the general plan, what should enter into that general plan? What should we look for?
In drawing up the general plan, it is important to determine the following: tools or methods to achieve the goal.
So what are the tools you've got? What are the methods you have to achieve that goal that you've said you want to achieve? Maybe you have education. Maybe you have experience. Those are tools. Maybe maybe you have a mentor. Maybe you have people you could learn from. Maybe you have an organization. So methods, tools, those are the things we are looking for here. Tools that will help you to get that goal met. Okay?
Resources or wealth to achieve the goal.
Another thing we are looking for are resources, other than the tools, the mechanisms, the resources, or the wealth, the riches that you may have to achieve the goals. So you will be wondering what is the difference between method and resources, but we'll get to that later on.
What resources, what wealth do we have in order to achieve the goals? Methods to achieve goals or tools. 1. Planting churches.
So this is where I'm using my own example right now.
2.
So planting churches. We started this revolution, right, about reforming the church in Nigeria, and I always tell people, stop going to those churches. But some people try to understand that, or people misunderstand that and think that I'm against churches altogether, or that stop going to every church. No. Just stop going to the bad churches. Yeah. But if you find a good church, if you are, please go ahead. But if you don't find a good church, just stay at home and start your own fellowship where you are. So we should get that right, because a lot of our people who are even following, they are really very anti-church, and that is not really right. We must make the difference clear that we are not against the church. We are just against the churches that are exploiting people, that are taking advantage of people. Okay.
Methods to achieve goals or tools. Number 1, planting churches. Number 2, bringing up leaders. Number 3, conquesting influence, television, mass action. Number 4, influence through printed materials, books, 1,000 books.
That, this was translated from my Russian presentation. So that point 3, conquesting influence, is supposed to be mass influence. Yeah, that television, radio gives you
mass media.
Yeah. Like mass, it gives you more larger outreach.
Number 4, influence through printed materials, books, 1,000 books.
Who is familiar with that word 1,000? Yeah, so you see where it features.
Raising socially responsible and socially active people, activists, reformers.
Some of you are in that number right there. Reformers. Those are temple cleansers. And those ones. Activists. All those people in the internet, those are activists everywhere. But they don't know they are entering the plan. You think they know? That 20 years ago, it has been written concerning them. They are just seeing things happening. See, it's about people who wrote down. The Harvard. But even right now, when I finished the last session today, and we spoke about the first level, the second level, some of us were still not writing those things down. The Harvard lesson is just here. Meanwhile, we need to get it here. Although you still need to work more on it when you get back home. But still, start writing, start getting, because while you are sitting here, some processes are happening. Because you might say, I will write it down later on. Well, some of those 84%, they also thought as much. And the 13%. So it's better to write. Okay?
Raising businessmen, Club 1,000. Political influence.
So these are my own methods. These are methods, you see. These are different from resources. These are methods. So to talk about resources now, okay. Now let me just ask you, what is the difference between what is here and resources? This is Adelaja again. Microphone.
I think resources are the skill. The skill, organization, yes. Everything that yes. I'm going to, like education,
Yes.
And then method will be how I'm going to apply the resources to make them work.
Yeah, but methods also, this could be methods. So methods is what I'm going to plant churches.
How I'm going to.
So I'm going to use planting of churches. That is a method. So these are all methods, but the resources are what I already have. Maybe it's knowledge, maybe it's myself,
self-education,
skills, maybe all those things. Maybe it's money, maybe it's others. Okay, so they are a little bit different. Okay, so but I want you to also think of we'll go to resources later on, but let's just talk about methods now. So I want you all to think and maybe write some things down for yourself. Since we're talking about your global purpose that we dealt with the last class, you know that what your global purpose is. At least you have an idea. So what are the methods you plan to use? Put things down a little bit for yourself. What are the methods you could apply? Think about it. You've got to think about it. Brainstorm within yourself. What are the methods that could be applicable to your own particular calling? Or you might want to take a photograph of this if you want. But, you just begin to think about it. Because once the methods are there, for example, you just look at this now, for example, planting churches, bringing up leaders, mass media. And in Facebook was not there when I wrote this, but it's a book writing. So all these things that are here, do you think Pastor Sunday is really busy doing them? So these ones now, they spell out the activities that your life is supposed to be busy with. You see, no partying here, no visiting here, no time. This already keeps me busy every day. So my life is streamlined to my goals, my global goals, my global purpose, but my global purpose also is simplified to methods. So I know what I will be doing every day. So from here now, you could begin to see that my life is being streamlined, is being cut. I'm being cut off from distraction. Things have been defined. What my life is supposed to be engaged with or by. So it's important for you to get your methods. So you'll be busy all the time. You will not be waking up one day and you don't know what to do, and somebody is calling you to invite you out, and so you know what you are supposed to be doing every day. But these are mine. But you find out your own methods. Okay, so if you are through there, can we move on? Or are you still writing? Okay, so I move on.
The difference between methods and resources. Methods, options, a set of tools that can help to achieve the goal. Resources, what we already have in stock. Resources, the main wealth, and it is important to focus on so-called hidden riches.
Okay, so you already know what methods are. We saw them earlier. So when we are talking about resources, we are talking about wealth. You have to take stock. Take stock of the wealth that you have or you potentially have. Now, whenever God is telling you to do something for Him, you should know that whatever you have, they are just like those two fish and 5 loaves of bread. They are too small. They are too insignificant. No matter, it doesn't even matter if you're a billionaire. Like Bill Gates has a vision to eradicate diseases and things, and he found out very fast that his money was too small. So it doesn't matter how much you have; it's going to be too small. But so that's why I would divide your resources into two. The resources, the wealth, and the resources that are visible, available resources, and the invisible resources. Or if you want, I could say it in another way. The wealth that you have that are physical, and the wealth that are invisible. So I don't know what you are going to do, what your calling is. So for example, you are supposed to plant 1,000 churches, and then you are only just you and your wife. So then that means what you have is your car, your wife, yourself. So those are your physical resources you have. Then you have to, so where do we find the invisible resources? And in bringing to pass a vision and calling, really it is the invisible resources that are actually your main resources. So these invisible resources, even though everybody has them, but we are so physical and material people that we will often think that we don't have anything because they are not visible. So what I'm going to be paying attention to today, because we all know what material resources are, so I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to the resources that you have, to the riches and wealth that you have that are invisible. And out of those invisible resources, you will be able to create visible resources, visible wealth. And the reason is because everything that we see right now is temporal. And real riches that will last for the future are the things that are invisible. For the things that we see now are temporal, but the things that we don't see are invisible. The invisible resources, they are the ones that are really more reliable. They are the ones that will come to stay. They are permanent. So what are those resources? What are those wealth? How can you find them? All of us have them. So let's explore them. Okay.
People emphasize the visible wealth. Basically, people in this world emphasize the visible material wealth, feel paralyzed and helpless if they do not have money, influence, connections, or something tangible. But the man of God, a man of great vision and broad mind, should never rely on tangible and visible wealth, because it was not created by God through the visible, but through the invisible.
Everything God created didn't come from visible world. Everything God created came from invisible world. So if everything God created came from the invisible world, we should be like our Father. So it means that we shouldn't even be amazed or shocked or discouraged when we see invisible, when we see that we don't have anything. It's a good place to start. The Bible says in Genesis 1:1 that the earth was void and dark. It was shapeless and dark. So nothing was there. It was void. It was empty. So in that emptiness and amidst of that emptiness, God made something to come out. So that emptiness, let's say that is your own situation right now. You don't have anything. So you having nothing, how can you carry out such a huge calling that you have, such a huge purpose or vision? So that's what we are going to explore.
Principle: all that is visible was made out of the invisible. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. Hebrews 11 verse 3. The world became flesh. John 1 verse 14. Flesh is something tangible that was made out of invisible word. The main resources of a man is invisible wealth.
Okay, so let's take care of this. Let's study this principle here. This principle says that everything visible was made out of something invisible. Everything physical that we see right now came out of invisibility, out of the invisible world. Good. So how does that happen? What do you mean? Simple. Look at that scripture again. Hebrews 11:3. For by faith, we understand that the whole universe, everything you see, everything, the whole of universe, was made or formed at God's command, so that what is seen, what is visible, was made or was not made out of what was visible. So everything we see now was made out of what was not made visible, out of invisible. So how do I do the same today? The answer to that is right there in the next verse. The word became flesh. So, but how do we practically bring that to pass? So I have a vision. Or I don't even have a vision. I don't have money. I don't have anything. I know that in the beginning, God. That's what it says in Genesis. In the beginning, God. Okay, then I'm done. Number one, you remember in the beginning, there everything was void and null and void, empty, null and void, right? Empty. But in that same beginning, while everything was empty, in the beginning, God. Everything is empty, or there was something. In the beginning, God. What does that tell me? For every one of my beginning, I should find him. So somebody told me, if you are going to move to Sweden today or to Norway or anywhere, how do you plant a church? How do you start from scratch? I said, I will first of all go to the hotel, lock myself in there for 2 weeks, read, study, fast, pray, seeking God. I will be asking that question from God. I am in Norway now. What would you have done in my place? If you were to be here, Father, show me the picture. Give me the idea. What should I do? The only thing I need, therefore, is, so the first thing I need, how to make something from nothing is, the first thing I need, remember in the beginning, God. So you see how I would do that, solitude. And when I'm with him, I'm not alone. When I'm in solitude, I'm there with him. He knows something that I don't know. I could be in a dilemma. I could be empty, don't know what to do, where to take anything I need. But he is full of wisdom. He is full of resources. So in the beginning, in every one of your beginning, God. So if you get that, that means with everything you are starting, don't even rush. Go get God. In the beginning, God. So get to be with him. And you don't have to be so intense, like go and do a solitude. Maybe you cannot afford to do a solitude. Maybe you are working, maybe you have children. Like my wife, she doesn't do solitude the way I do it. She just stays at home all the time, does her own thing, but she's waiting on God in her own mind, in her own way. She kind of has a way of doing her own. She doesn't go away like I do because children, school, everything. But she finds a way to just be in a state of contrite like that before God. So find a way to just focus on God, talk to him all the time, get a hold of him in your own way. So in the beginning, God. Now, so what should that result into? That beginning, God, what should that result into for you? What will you get out of it? Let's say you even do a solitude. What will happen with you going to be in the beginning with God? What will happen? What do you expect to get from there? Simple thing. What you will expect to get from there is exactly this very same thing that God himself got from there in Genesis. So even though everything was null and void, and or what do you call it? Is that the way we say it? Yeah. Empty and dark. But because God was there, you know what we discover? The Spirit of God was doing what I told you to do now. was hovering, moving. That is more like what I said you should do. Go and relate with God. Go and get a hold of God. Because when you are in solitude with God, or when you are alone with God, you are talking, you are in relationship, you are interacting. It's like his spirit is moving also around that time. So, but what will be the result? The result will be what it was in the beginning. The word will come forth. That's the only thing you need. And God said, let there be. The same thing it does still today. It is still the same way to bring something out of nothing. A word will come to you. And that's the only thing you need. Everything that has been built in Europe, all this building, all these streets, it has always come out of there. If you look at the great builders, the great artists, Beethoven, Michelangelo, everybody that has ever done anything great in history, either they are builders, either they are songwriters, either they are painters, anything, they've always depended on illumination, inspiration. And when they talk about illumination and inspiration, they are talking about ideas, the word that they get. Everything comes from ideas. Everything comes from words. Everything comes from inspiration. That is what you get when you recognize that in the beginning, God. Even if you're an atheist. Okay, for example, how did Steve Jobs, Bill Gates come to invent what they invented? Idea came. Thomas Edison, how did they come to know what to do? Idea came. That is the basis of everything. Everything visible came out of invisible. But that process of invisibility starts with a word. So that's why it says there, the word became flesh. In the beginning was the word. The word was with God. The word became flesh. So the word, could you say the word? No, invisible. But could you say flesh?
Yep.
Yes. Everything you see came out of what you don't see. So when you get an idea, you don't have to even do solitude, but just concentrate on God. Once He gives you an idea, now let's go and look at the picture that is there. Look at the photograph. Look at the diagram. Can you see that girl? She's not seeing anything in front of her. Her eyes are even closed. But something is happening in her mind. That is what you need. An idea. And that idea is being developed into diagrams, pictures, photographs, pictures, drawings. That is how everything comes to pass. Then the next thing you will see, that girl will leave that room where she is in solitude now. She will begin to draw, or she will draw those things in her head, those ideas in her head. She will transfer those painting, that idea you see in those photographs, those pictures, she will transfer it into a paper. And once it is transferred into a paper, either in form of written words, or in form of pictures, the physical, the invisible has become visible. And once that idea has been written down or been drawn down, it's already come out of the invisible world. You have slowed down through work the energy, and you have converted it into paper, into visible world. Then the next level of creation is to keep on slowing down through work, hard work. So from paper now, you now transfer into bricks, into factories, into bridges. To make something from nothing is easy. But you have to know the formula as well. So this is in case you don't have anything. But apart from this is the basic principle of, so now let's look at that Hebrews again, verse 11:3, and you will read that with another understanding.
By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible.
So what is seen is made out of what was not visible. So just like the goal. Okay, then
The Word became flesh. John 1:14. Flesh is something tangible that was made out of invisible word. The main resources of a man is invisible wealth.
now are you getting that now? So the invisible wealth, you are much wealthier than you thought. Like in my country, Nigeria, all the young people finish schools and universities, they are complaining that they don't have a job. Do you need a job to get this? What we just described for you here, that things come from invisible world, is that a job you need to do this? What do you need to do? Do you need any resources to do this? Any material resources to do this?
No.
Only time.
Just time.
Time and conversion. And yourself. But this is the most basic way everything that we see comes from invisible world to the visible. All right? But besides this, let me now take you to other invisible wealth that you have, that you must be aware of, and that you need to convert. And from the list of the invisible resources that you have, that is how you'll be able to provide for all the things you need to fulfill your global plan or global purpose. Okay, so this is let's use my example. The examples of my invisible wealth. LG is just a few of them, but that's enough for you. So these are the invisible wealth of Pastor Sunday.
Pastor's invisible resources. Number 1, passion, obsession.
So how will I plant those so see that I want to plant churches, I want to raise up leaders, I want to bring influence, I want to do mass media influence, I want to write on 1,000 books, I want to raise up activists and reformers, I want to raise up businessmen, I want to have political influence. Where will I get the resources to do them? First of all, God, ideas. Through ideas, can I plant churches?
Oh, sure.
Through ideas, can I raise leaders?
Sure.
Through ideas, especially if God is giving me those ideas, I can do all this. But besides the ideas, let's also begin. So I still don't have money. Let's now go and see other resources, invisible resources that I have, which are not money. My other wealth, but they are invisible, that I will use to do all this. Let's go. Okay.
Pastor's invisible resources. Number 1, passion, obsession.
Okay, good. You know, we already have obsession for God, passion for our goal. Okay. Now, I don't know. Do you know that I can use passion to raise leaders? Okay. These are wealth. These are resources. These are the things I'm going to use as well. Apart from what I told you, apart from God, being with God, these resources that are here, invisible resources, they are also my wealth that I will use to do all this. Planting churches. So let's see. Can anybody use passion to plant churches? Obsession.
Yeah.
Easy.
Very easy.
Easy. Can I use a clear sense of purpose, focus to plant churches?
Yes.
These are all wealth. So please go through the list of my invisible resources.
Number 1, passion, obsession. Number 2, a clear sense of purpose or focus. Number 3, the desire to work
Now,
hard.
let me now tell you what these are. Where did I bring this from? Because that should be your question. So, Pastor, why these particular ones? Why are these the things you wrote? Because those are I'm doing inventory of myself. You remember I said in the beginning, where are my wealth? Where will I get the wealth from? The resources from? I don't have anything. So let's forget about what I have. Look inside yourself. What are the things that I can do? I feel I can do. Those are my wealth, invisible wealth. Do I have passion? I know yours might not be passion. It might be something else you want to write. Maybe you are observant. Maybe you smile very well, like Pearl. Maybe you dress well. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know what you are going to come up with. Maybe you read well. Just don't matter. So, invisible resources, 1. My own. These are my own. Get your own together. I know I have passion and I'm obsessed with God, so I wrote it down. I know I have focus. For me, I'm sure most of you must have noticed that I have focus, because if I'm coming every day and doing the one and the same thing, I have that. So I know I have that. Then desire to work hard. I'm not afraid of working hard. I can work hard. Those are wealth right there. For some other people, for me, education. Not just the education I already have, but even that I'm willing to self-educate. For me, that is also wealth. Because when I self-educate, I discover stuff. That is wealth. Then, social ability. So I'm sociable. I'm very sociable. And through that, I can plant churches. I can raise leaders. I can make followers. Just talking to somebody that you don't know, just getting to know them, just opening up to them. Those are things that people can follow. Those are wealth. Then,
education, a willingness to learn. Sociability. Number 6, ability to pass on the vision. Number 7.
if I have a vision, if I believe in something, I can pass it across to other people. I count it as wealth. Just your ability. Those are all invisible stuff, but they will become flesh one day when I begin to apply them. They will bring people to me. They will open doors for me. Okay?
Number 7, strategic thinking. Number 8, the ability to mobilize people. Number 9, observancy. And number 10, love for God and compassion for people.
So these are things I discover in myself. I think it will be a good idea for you to do such an inventory on yourself. Do you think you have anything like this? Any ability, any gifts, any wealth like this? Well, what you should also know is that all those your invisible wealth can deliver to you everything you desire in life.
We can develop them too.
You have to develop them. But even just if you are good in them, because these are the things you are supposed to be good in. If you are good in them, or even if you develop them better, it's even better for you. But it's about using them. Go and apply them. So I expect you to also formulate your own list. Is it complex a little bit?
No, it's just that it's hidden. I mean, why didn't we know this 10 years ago? So simple. But we neglect, we don't even see it as anything.
You want to add something there?
Yes. These are some of these resources I know I have some I use day to day, but I never knew that there are resources that is in me. Like when you talk of sociability, I know I have ability of connecting people easily because I've done some businesses of always connecting people. But I never know is I keep thinking I need money to start a business or something.
Okay.
Yeah, and the love for God and compassion for people, I know, but it's just that maybe the way I've been expressing my love for God is not like from the foundational aspect of it. So I don't even know those are resources that I can even develop myself and use.
Yeah. Because most of us are waiting for money or resources or connection, or but you don't really need to. You already have too much.
Yeah, it says scripture is coming alive because
Which particular one
we
now?
quote Ephesians every time. God has blessed us with all spiritual blessings. But we
Never
just
blessed.
quote it, and sometimes we don't even know what those spiritual blessings are. These are things you can't touch. They are not tangible, but they are there inside of you. They are spiritual blessings, but you just.
I can relate with the planting churches because sometimes you always talk about what you don't have, but just this alone, it's
You always talk about what you don't
have. Not knowing that you just sit down and just, I mean, for me, it's like, I never knew that 75% of planning is more important than the ability.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, all we need to do is just sit back and just take a look at take a stock of what you have, and then from
In your
there-
own case, for example, you could put your accent there. Because you already have a better accent than myself and more than most Africans. So since you have that's for me. If I had that, I would have been flying higher. And I would not stick with Nigerians who have different accents because you will not be popular there.
So it's like just like our pastor Anna said, I wish I knew this
10 years ago.
10 years earlier. It would have helped me with
Huh?
But
No voice? No volume?
I think it's from the person's device.
Okay, when you hold it, you have to hold it. You are okay
holding
now, but
okay.
you was tapping us.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but I have a question. How were you able to develop all this?
All the material or just this?
Just like this, like
just this particular list?
Yes.
It was when I came to I was 27 years old, 26 years old, and I came to Ukraine with $20 in my pocket. And I got a room in the dormitory for students. I had a Ghanaian friend who had a room with but he told me his neighbor there were supposed to be two persons in that room, he and a Russian guy. But the Russian guy got a girlfriend in town. So he doesn't stay in that room, he goes to sleep with the girlfriend. So that room was empty, bed was empty. So I said, if we speak to the administrator maybe would like me to come in. He said, yeah, but you have to pay $15 for that bed. So I did. I was left with $5, and I needed to start a church.
Wow.
And at this point, I'd stopped working from my, where I was still doing I didn't have salary. So what I did was that I said, I am in a fixed. I didn't want food to eat. So I knew that, some idea just came to my mind that if you don't work hard now and get people fast to get saved, you'll become homeless. So that because if you get as many people as possible, maybe they'll be offering. Because the people you bring who together, they become your resources. So I said, what do I have to? I didn't have Russian language. I didn't have accent. My Russian language was very bad that time. But I had the passion and the zeal. And I loved people. I wanted them to really get saved, not because of just even me. But that pushed me. My condition also pushed me to, because before I would have been shy a little bit, or I've been modest. So I threw modest out of the window and shyness. So I started, that was when I started my program of touching, or if I don't minister to 100 people in a day, I shouldn't go to bed. I knew that within that month, I must get as many people as possible. So I determined for myself that every day I will get 100 people. By the end of 30 days, I will get, is it 3,000 people? 3,000 people in. So out of the 3,000, but I don't just give them invitation, come. I was using my passion. I was using just passion and love. Number 1 and number 10 is what I was using. Number 1 and number 10. So passion. So when I will express my passion to the extent that please don't go to hell. I know about this. God has saved me from hell. He will save you too. And you know I don't know you from anywhere. I don't know you, but I care that you don't go to hell because I know that somebody has already died for you. I will stand on my knees in the metro, I mean in the underground, in the tramway, in the tram, in the buses. I will stand on my knees. I will be begging them, please don't. They will say, what's wrong with? He says, this guy is serious. So maybe the thing he's saying is really, maybe he really means it. They don't believe it, but they say, for a man to be so. It's serious. Okay, I will do it. Just don't cry. So I was using my passion and love, but of course I've prayed. But I was also using. So by the time out of those 100 a day, maybe one will come. But that's good enough for me. By the end of the month, we'll have 30 people. Wow. Little offering there, I could pay for the next month. And I could eat. So, but I kept that on for the next 1 year. And after 1 year, I was having 1,000 people. So it was from there I discovered that I used love for God and love for man and passion, that because they were not coming because I was giving them something, but because I was ready to cry, I was ready to persevere with them, I was sincere. So that was when I discovered that secret. So I discovered that, I thought I didn't have anything, no. $5 only. But I saw that what I had inside, I used. That was when this topic came to my life, invisible wealth. I was 26 years old. Ever since I've developed it to discover, maybe I have some more other things. So I used to think I could pray, I could fast, but I removed those. Because those are spiritual, just the natural things that are there. Even though I could have included that too. So this is how I came up with this. And I've been using it ever since. For example, when I started my Facebook broadcast, I was just having maybe about 10, 20 people watching. Good. But I was using my sociability, 5. I would greet people, I would be very nice to them. I was building visible word from invisible. So if you now go back to those videos, where in all my videos, you think just this guy just wasting time. Why is he doing all that? But I was building bridges. I don't do that now because things. But I've already it's already done its work.
Wow.
You're holding the mic.
I mean, it's. I'm sorry. Because it's so simple. I mean, I can remember how many times I'll just be focusing on what I don't have. I'll just be focusing and I'll be praying, I'll be talking about getting angry and not knowing that there's invisible resources that every man possess, and if you can just use those resources, the visible resources will come. I think that
Out of all this came the largest church in Europe. Out of all this came incredible amount of, we have, through our ministry in the past 20 years, there have been 75 million people saved. All over, there were 75 million people. Out of all this came in.
They kept saying it's simple, it looks simple, it's simple. It's not simple to me. Because frustration will set in when you start. And then what do? As it is written like that, it looks simple, but when you start doing it, I don't think it's that simple. It's hard work and persistence. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. That's why you have to write what you can, what you know you have, naturally have. Don't put my own. Don't use mine. Use what you are good in. Any other person wants to? For example, when I was in another thing that made me to also know this, which I didn't include here. Let's say some of the spiritual qualities. So, because I love God, I used to go to churches to preach. But when I go to churches, because it was there are white churches they don't always allow me to preach. But when I go there, I look for people who are in need, and I pray for people. Outside, before the service, I come and pray for people earlier. I do a prayer meeting earlier. And then after the prayer meeting, after the end of the service, people want to come to me to pray for them. So I pray for them, I meet people's needs. I was not even thinking of anything. But at that point, what they didn't know is that I had just finished my university education, and I was being evicted from my dormitory, from the hostel. But these people I was praying for, I was just ministering, I was just doing, and I was praying to God. But some of these old women, because they got healed, they'll say, "Hey, son, where do you live?" I said, "In the dormitory there." He said, "Please come and stay in my house, because my daughter, I have only one daughter, she moved to America, and she's been there for 10 years, and I'm getting old. But you are so pure, you are so holy. Please come and stay in my house." I said, "I don't have money to pay." "No, sir, don't pay any money, come and stay there." And she was treating me like a child, feeding me. That was how I survived for 1 year. Just because I was going from one church to the other. I would go to places, no results, nobody responds. But one day, something happened. So what you said,
Perseverance.
yeah, perseverance, patience, consistency. Just like giving all these things out every day, 100 a day, writing with the hand. Those days you used to write the address with the hand and everything. And then persistence. I didn't know who would come, who would not come. So just use it. Don't go for quick fix. Wanting to get something for nothing, instant gratification. If you know everything is born through hard work, put these things to hard work. Put hard work to them. And they will always produce results. They will never fail you. It's only if you fail yourself. So I'm not emphasizing the physical wealth that you have to use to fulfill your destiny. But I'm talking about the wealth that God already put in you, gave you. Even though they might be invisible right now. I think the other ones you will have, the physical ones, will just be complementary. But these ones should be the main ones that you are really using. So through this, I was able to do this. plant church, raise leaders, I'm using my resources, invisible resources. So anybody wants to comment on that before we go to material stuff? Is it clear enough? Okay, good. So let's continue.
Material resources. People.
You people know material resources, right? Money, connection, people. Wow. Okay.
Material resources. People, opportunities, influence, connection. But all of them are at the last stage.
Put them as your reserve. Don't make, the Bible says, woe unto those who make man their
trust.
Yes. Who make flesh there. So that flesh there is like tangible things. Don't put your trust in tangible things. Tangible things, visible things, they are temporal. But the invisible things, they are everlasting. So don't always rely. Whenever you put your trust or lack of trust in what you don't have, you are actually telling God that you don't believe in Him, because God wants you to believe in Him, and He is in the invisible realm. It is when you believe in things that are not seen, that's when you believe in God. But when you put your trust in what what are visible, then you are not trusting God. Those are facts. There's no need for God to trust in God for that. Then when you are complaining about what you don't have, material things, you are actually expressing unbelief to God, disbelief to God. So whenever you are complaining about what you don't have, those are, you are telling God that is where my faith is. My faith is in visible things that I see. And now I don't see anything, I don't trust you. But God wants us to trust Him for the things that are yet to manifest. And once they manifest, we should forget about it and begin to trust Him for the next thing that are yet to manifest. Because the just shall live by faith. So it is that is faith, when you are looking forward to things that are not visible. Okay?
Why do people complain about the lack of resources? Almost all people complain that they have no money, connections, they do not know anyone, etc. But they suffer because they don't know how to turn invisible things into visible things.
That is the real reason why they are suffering, not because they don't have material things. Material things, those are ready-made things already. But the reason they are really suffering is because of what they don't know. They are not turning the invisible wealth God already gave them to visible wealth.
Almost all people complain that they have no money, no connections, they do not know anyone, etc. But they suffer because they don't know how to turn invisible things into visible things. Everyone is already rich enough to do what he is called for.
You have enough wealth and enough riches, enough to do what you are called for. Everyone. So where are they? Those are the very same things we saw. And you could make a list of 100 more of invisible wealth that you already have. Everyone is already rich. I have a series of teaching on YouTube called "You Are Already Rich." You are the wealth you are looking for. You are the money you are looking for. So look for that. You are already rich. You are the money you are looking for. Is it you are the money or you are the wealth, or you are the riches you are? Huh? You are the wealth you are looking for, maybe. Yeah. So, but it's called "You Are Already Rich." You are the money you are looking for. You are the wealth you are looking for. So you can make even more, bigger list. Just write things that belong to you, which are yours. So everyone already has more than enough. You see the guy is crying, that picture. You see the guy, you also see all the tears coming from the right places and the wrong places. You see him crying. Even where there are no outlets to cry, tears are still coming out of there. From the back of his head. Tears are coming from there too. Complaining about everything. So let's read that again.
Why do people complain about the lack of resources? Almost all people complain that they have no money, connections, they do not know anyone, but they suffer because they don't know how to turn invisible things into visible things.
That is the real problem they have. The skills, the ability to turn invisible wealth they already have into visible material product that they need. What you already have invisibly will produce for you the visible things that you need.
Everyone is already rich enough to do what he is called for.
Everybody. God doesn't send anybody to the world empty. He sends you here rich. So when in my country everybody is waiting, they're saying government didn't do it, government didn't do that. Well, okay, that's what they know. Some people go to school and they finish school, they have all that, and they're still complaining that they don't have anything. Okay, that's your choice. That's why all Africans are running away from the continent, because they are not taught this, that they are already rich. Because they have been taught that riches are material. So they have to run to Europe and become slaves there just to have material stuff. But we are going to teach Africans the truth, and I hope some of them will embrace it. Okay?
All your abilities are your wealth. If a man has ability to speak well, it is a resource because he has good potential to be a politician. Look good, he can make an impression on people and tie vital contacts. Be diligent, he can become an ace in the investigation of any matter, and then he can get to spheres where others cannot enter.
These are just examples. If you dress well, that is a resource. If you speak well, that is a resource. If you look well, that's a resource. If you smile well, that's a resource. If you are lacking compression like peace like this, that is a resource. If you have this hairstyle, that is a resource. Yes, if you have the hairstyle of blessing, where is blessing? You know, day to day. Ah, okay. If you have a hairstyle, that's a resource. If you are diligent, that's a resource. Anything. Just open your eyes to see them. Open your eyes to see them, and don't just open your eyes to see them, but that's what carelessness leads you to, my dear. You are not supposed even to bring water near the place at all. So, anyway, Tony, take some trap kinada ubrat word dalele. So anything you can do, anything you can think of, is already your wealth. Anything you can think of. Anything you can think of is already your wealth. So I want to hear your thoughts about this. What do you all think about it? Nobody has anything to say. The Pearl wants to say something.
It's quite interesting because usually and I'll say for me that I think sometimes I despise is quite strong, but in
What
a
is
way
quite strong?
despise. I was going to say
You despise it?
yes, despising
Yourself?
some of
Why are you speaking into?
this.
No, you see, the thing is on top. Yeah, we are hearing you now.
Yeah, I was saying that usually, at least if I speak on my behalf, I have often despised
So
some of the
it's
things.
self-despise.
Yes. So for example, you were, even though it sounds trivializing, like, oh, your hair could be your, you know what I mean, or your smile could be, you know, you kind of sometimes despise, or your ability to listen, you kind of despise it, because you're looking for the big ones, like passion, because maybe you're not that kind of person. You know what I mean? Usually you're looking at somebody else and thinking, oh my God, look at how that person owns the stage. Look at how that person talks. Look at, and you are thinking that, oh, well, I wish I had those gifts or those qualities, not knowing that the qualities that you have is
Even
what
just
you
the
need
ability to listen. Even the ability just to listen.
Because I think for a long time, I mean, I've done all these, try to discover my purpose. I've done so many things, but usually I kind of think that, my purpose is, it's not something that's out there, it's that kind of quiet, maybe listening or counseling or something like that. And I'm thinking, but that's not going to make me money for starters, and that's not something that is, it doesn't own the stage, because you kind of despise sometimes what you actually have, and you're thinking that you want what somebody else has. I don't know if that makes
sense, a lot of sense.
So I mean, at least it's helping me to look at things in a different light, and just to see that I am unique in myself, but also unique in what God has called me to do, and what He has called me to do. He has equipped me with those qualities so that I can fulfill that.
Brilliant. Anybody want to comment?
I mean, for the first time, maybe in my life, I'm looking at myself and I'm seeing so much wealth, so much things I can do, so much wealth, so much
you mean
wealth.
people are not talking about this or what?
No. I mean, you want to do something. I mean, for the first time, I don't feel helpless anymore. I don't. It's just dependent on me now to go into myself and make an inventory, like you say, do a self-evaluation, do an inventory. I mean, even from the top of my head, I'm already thinking of, wow, look at me, I can actually do this.
So you mean you could have gone...
First contact with Maya, I'm not sure she'll remember. I was telling her how I used to feel within myself that I can't actually generate ideas. What a lie. I convinced myself I couldn't, but now, no, I have so much wealth in me, so much. I'm busting over right now. I can't wait to get started.
I think we need to develop like 10,000, 100,000 people just to teach the world these things.
I think one other reasons why we've been blinded to these things is what Stapel said, is because we often concentrate on other people. And that one of the biggest lessons I've learned just from meeting you is that solitude. Because until I met you, the only concept I had of being alone was when you do fasting and prayer. And even the fasting and prayer, you are not quiet, you are not looking inward, you're just shouting and praying, read your Bible, you wait, you pray, and that's the only quiet time you find. You understand? But when I met you and I started reading your books and started discussing it, solitude, I never knew that you can even use solitude to do anything apart from prayer. Yeah. That you can actually use it to write books, you can actually use it to pursue purpose. I never knew. To add value. So our problem, majority of people, the reason why
religion had really killed.
Yeah.
Religion had dealt with the continent.
I'm telling you, the reason why we get stuck where we are is because we are always looking at another person. We are always comparing ourselves with another person. Oh, he can do that. Oh, he can do that, and I cannot do it. What a lie. We are different. We are unique. Like he was saying, he said he was telling himself that he cannot generate. I was there myself because I was saying that what is wrong? Why is it that I'm not creative? Creativity. I was telling myself, but
there is no one that is not creative. There is no one that is not creative.
We lie to ourselves every day, and sometimes it can become so bad that we get stuck in that world where we think I don't know, we just think nothing good of ourselves. But everyone, like you have said, I remember the HMT, was it the one you were talking about? If I can remember the title now, but you're talking about form, structure, and system, where you're bringing it out from Genesis, and you're talking about light, order. Yeah, that's the HMT on order. And you said something profound, that every single cell in our body, right, that God has used to create us, has a purpose, that even those cells are living things and are fulfilling their own purpose. And it is the combination of all those cells that made us. So even we ourselves, we are like a compendium of an engine house, or like a factory of individual cells carrying out their own unique responsibility that God has assigned to them.
Right.
Their own their own living thing. But putting all those cells together now makes us, and we now have responsibility. But together as individuals, we have a holistic a vision and a mission to fulfill. So that has been our problem, whereby we look at so-called men of God on the stage and say, I wish I could be like him. Look how bold he is. Look how lively he is. Look how he's able to, eloquence. Look how he's able to associate with people. He has this, he has that, and I don't. We keep focusing on the
I don't even know that is a big problem. I didn't even know that's a problem.
Massive problem. Massive problem.
Themselves.
So they don't, just like you are teaching us now to go and look inward. They don't tell you that. Rather, they say, "Look unto me, look to me, look to me." And that's been the problem, because our focus has been external instead of internal.
Wow. Anybody wants to add to that?
I wish I had this message 10 years earlier. And I want to say why. About 2008, I was given the task of starting a church that existed again. And it was just me and my mom. It was the biggest struggle to grow that church. I used to think...
So what were you doing? You had all the resources?
I didn't know I had the resources. I didn't know.
No.
I used to think that if some pastor pray for me.
No, you are not serious.
That's why I'm being like, I'm like I would be listening to a depo. I was like, there's something, and whatever they said, I would just go and start declaring. If they'll come from the east, the west, we'll just go to the church. I will be doing all this stuff. We didn't know.
No, are you serious?
We didn't know, like when I was coming for this HMT. I said I want to sit down with DSC and ask him this question. For the past 2 days, the question I've been asking, you brought it out without me sitting down with you one-on-one. That was what I was going to say. That's what I was going to sit down with DSC and ask. What is the secret? A couple of weeks, because I left the church in Canada, and my mom would be calling me and lamenting that she's tired of this. She doesn't know she wants to continue. I said, don't worry. I'll just go to HMT, and I believe that because to me, God called us. It's not like we called ourselves. Why is this thing so hard? So when I saw that list, and when you were explaining to me, it was like, that's why I didn't know what to say anymore. Like, it was so simple that we didn't look within. We were thinking it was forces without. We'll bring pastors over to come and do some special program, thinking if they do a special program, that will draw the people.
People who don't suffer.
So this, oh no.
But you already have them now.
No, but nobody tells you that you already have the qualities. Always, they make it, like I said, they always make it seem so mysterious.
No, I think the only...
You don't suffer.
Sometimes, sir, you might know you have it, but the knowledge is just all about that's my personality. You don't know that it is a resource.
But that's your personality because you are unique.
Yeah, but
God gave you unique personality so that you could do what I cannot do.
we don't see it as a resource that can be used.
Because everything you have is to be used for the kingdom now. That's the whole essence of being obsessed. All those resources, all those things, they are for him, first of all, not to make money. Everything you use to get a job, everything you use to finish school, everything you use, all the abilities you use. Okay, for example, you were passing exams in school. Those abilities, they are first of all not for exams, but for his kingdom. You are working hard, you are reading hard, you are sitting overnight to read and read. Those things are not for exams, first of all, or for diploma. They are most meant, first of all, to advance his kingdom. So you don't just use it to give exam and then choose, it's been done. No. Whatever skills that, wherever you have worked, people have admired, and you have used it to make money something. All those things that you are used to make money and, they are paying you for, those are not for the job, first of all. That is all secondary, All those skills, all those things you know how to use at your job and something, they are first of all meant for him and the advancement of his kingdom. Only later on you also use it to make money. I don't know if I'm making sense. You want to comment on it, Adela? You mean eyes they open?
Jokingly that something like Igbo Bishop, like
Okay.
if the bishop, if the bishop had not laid his hand, and this Elisha concept, so you want to remain in that. And in fact, there is an adage that says in Yoruba, that means if there is a pastor that is in charge of a church and you happen to be a member, and with all these skills we talked about, and you feel like you have this thing, you want to step out, you're under course. 2 vision is division. So if you are having any vision contrary to what your father in the Lord, if you are not cursed, the other side of what. So many of us, you just want to remain. So you want to remain loyal, and
they have tied
you have all this thing
inside.
Bottled. So there's no way you want to. So you are not proud of what you have. So you now look at the picture of a tiny God that everybody is coming. So that is why when you said the church is a lot of destinies is being locked up, and we need hope. We just. So that is what I see. So even in the secular world, you have all this, like all what you are saying. I was just looking at what I've written down, some of what I've, but you don't have anywhere to share anything. It's in the church. You just join your department and be doing whatever you can do there. You don't know how best you can be the best version of you, and you can imagine how many things one will have done all the years. You have this thing and you don't have a way of expressing.
Must be loyal.
No, with their resources locked up.
Yeah, loyal.
And some of these churches, they have millions of these members. Closed up, locked up like that. And the only thing they use them to do is just to bring new members to come and sit down and become prisoners like themselves.
Evangelism.
They use you bad. Evangelism boy.
Even in the snow.
Even the snow.
In Europe.
Snow. I'm telling you.
I'm sorry, I'm still on that list again. Can we go back, please? Can we go back to that list?
Yes, let's go back to the list. Yes. Yes.
You know what I went through for 10 years? And nobody is sharing this.
And all of them, all those pastors you were inviting in guest ministers, they know this. That is how they became who they became. But they will not tell you. So you are actually praying and fasting?
We're praying, fasting. I will go to conferences left, right, and center, try to find out what it is. And then sometimes you be thinking maybe you don't have what it takes. You'll be
There's no human being that doesn't have what it takes.
You don't have what it takes. You be thinking maybe if you just bring somebody special to the church, he will do it, not knowing that.
But this could also be affecting you in other spheres of influence to be successful in other at work as well. And if you are believing that it has to take something special, then you might not. Now I see why there are no breakout victories and breakthroughs, and
that's why I said it.
You see, look at the Ukrainians. Go and look at those videos and testimonies. In 2-3 years, after they come to church, from drugs, from street, from psychiatric hospitals, from homelessness, come and be hearing their stories. You know those videos? Go and be hearing their stories. They just explode, and I wonder, these people are human beings like them. You have been in churches for ages. What is happening? Now I know.
Because we don't know this. We don't know.
Our people know this from the very first months. And they begin to work on it. That's all. By the 6 months, they're already exploding.
This secret, I've never seen it in any book, any teaching, any preaching. So this, to me, I don't know, wow.
It's easier than you thought. But God is not a sadist, He has put He's helped you already. You don't need to begin to ask again. He blessed all he blessed you already.
All spiritual blessings.
Yeah, not just spiritual blessings, even in Genesis. He said he made them male and female in verse 28, and in verse 27, Genesis 1:27. Then in verse 28, he said, and he blessed them. Listen, that is a principle. God doesn't bring anything to life without blessing it. Just like parents too, if you are a responsible parent, you want to take care of your child that you give birth to. The same with God. God will never create something or bring something to life without blessing it. So when God created man and man and woman, he blessed them already. And what does that mean? What is blessing? He gave them power to be productive. So blessing means he empower in them. That is why you are able to reproduce without praying. That's why you can get pregnant and give birth to children, because of that blessing that time. The same in business and everything. You already have everything. You don't come to the world without being packaged. You are custom made for success. He gave them power. It doesn't matter you are a believer, you're not a believer, you can deny God. You can curse God. But the power, the innate power to be productive and to bear fruit, to increase, is already in it. For God to remove that will mean, first of all, for him to deny himself. Unless there is somebody that brought a curse for some reason to come and violate that process. But the normal order of things is that every human being is buried in your DNA to be successful. So he blessed them, meaning he gave them power, ability, potential, inner resources to bear fruits, to increase, to multiply, to dominate, and to subdue. Automatically, without praying. It doesn't matter where you live. God did that. So for you to be looking for those things, I don't get it. Why? When you already have them. Or to be running after some men for it. You can only learn knowledge from men. Maybe like now you are learning what you didn't know. That's it. You already have it. Just discover it. Please give him that.
Because this is
Because
what
I don't get it. The way you go, I don't get it. Is this the way I'm not getting what you have to go through? Why should we have to go
because
through
this
that?
is what everyone is saying that you must do.
Like what?
Go and invite one pastor, bring him, and he will help
So
you.
well, it's not better
it's
than
to
you.
me-
But that pastor is not better than you now. That one you are. Oh, Yedepo is not better than you. Adebo is not better than you. So why invite anybody especially?
So is it that people don't know, or
I don't get it. I just don't know where you people are coming from.
is it that people? No, I'm sorry. Is it that people? I'm sorry. Is it that people don't know this, or is because that's what's flying around? Like this to me is like a complete shock. That when God call you, whatever it is that you want to do, just
Anything.
look within.
It doesn't have to be God call you. God doesn't have to call you.
Or
Whatever you want
whatever
to
you
do.
want to do, just look. And you feel that you don't have, but just look within. To me,
You
that
already
is-
have. In fact, even the physical thing you think you have, they are inferior to these ones I'm talking about. The physical material ones are much more inferior. You don't even look at. You see, I'm not paying more attention to that one. But those are inferior. Everything comes from the invisible world. That's what I'm trying to say. And they're already in you now. God packaged you for that. He put on that himself. It's not me who did it. He himself did that. And even if you don't know, or you know, or even if you don't want it, he still puts all those things in you. For your success, for you to excel.
Somebody said we are coming from the zoo.
It's so sad to say. It's really painful.
So now I see why all those people in Africa are looking for work, going to Libya, to come to here. What is wrong with them? Open their eyes, that's all. Edo State people going to do prostitution, you don't need it. But you see, people who are prostitutes here, they just need to come. In the next 2 years, they're already members of parliament, doing their own businesses, directors, changing the nation.
The one we went to he said they just met you for 15 minutes.
You see?
And her life changed.
That's it. You don't need much. Just open. Maybe it's working better for them because nobody puts religion in them. They're just coming from the world.
That is what I just wanted to say, sir. How did you know what was in my head? Exactly what I wanted. I said, look, I wanted to say that the reason why unbelievers are more successful is because they don't have to deal with this religious baggage that we have. We continue to fight in our head religion. Imagine when you sit under a teaching, somebody telling you that God will never bless a non-tither. It sinks into your brain. So all you are looking for is how to walk and come and pay tithe so that you can get blessing, whereas you are already blessed.
Are you serious? So unbelievers now who never heard that, they just have
Just go and walk and just receive the bell. We just keep fighting religion in our head.
Dying the two.
It's so painful because we were discussing today. I always ask myself. I say, why is it that unbelievers are doing well, Christians are not? What's happening? We claim we know God. We claim we are closer to God. We claim we have blessing from God, but we can't. It's not manifesting anywhere. But religion is the most evil. I don't know how to put it. It's the most evil thing. I don't know which English to speak again. Religion is evil. I'm telling you, it's the most cruel, the most wickedest, the most everything you can think of. With a passion.
You have experienced it.
With a passion. I hate it. It's painful to know that you've spent years thinking that you are doing God a favor.
No, but when you begin to hear the stories of those Ukrainians, for example, I was just this other day. What do people used to think?
No, just like wow.
religion out. I know Nigerians, very enterprising people, very hardworking. Just take religion out of their way. The country will just change. That is our major problem, and that's when we talk against these men of God and criticize their doctrine. People don't understand. Say, go and face the government. The government don't have the solution.
No, but the government doesn't brainwash you now.
Yes.
It's the church that's
Everything
brainwashing you.
government, whereas the church has just blinded them. When they say the God of this world, let them forget Satan. Put Satan one side.
For Satan has been defeated a long time.
Religion.
He didn't want to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to cite the example of the center we went yesterday, because when you look at these invisible resources, the lady was telling us of how she discovered that she could be good with children. I think there was parents that brought their child to the hospital, and the child was crying without ceasing, shouting. Nobody know what to do. And then she went there and started banging on the wall or somewhere. And the child calmed down, started banging with her. And then she squat down, started hitting the floor. The child squat down, started hitting the floor. And the parents, they were just surprised. Said, what's going on? And I think that is where she said...
You didn't do prayer and fasting?
No, see, that's where she discovered that law, her purpose. Yes.
No seeking and praying.
No seed sowing.
No seed sowing to discover her purpose.
So it's
easy.
The invisible resource is what she had.
What she had inside. So does that mean we need to really bring this knowledge to Nigeria?
I think this one needs to spread. Like this one, letting people know that
you already
have it. Because many people think that they need to, and I think if people get this, a lot of the churches will be affected because they're making
people don't need to be going to those places.
They don't need to be going to those places. Because they don't know that they are invisible resources. Maybe I need to write a book, Discover Your Invisible Resources. Yes. I think yes. I think it's very, because to me, I'm still like, wow. I can't believe that this is just like this.
Just one question.
Yeah, please.
How do you actually get that message across to all the churches? Like what you're saying is that...
Say it to the microphone, please.
Yeah. From what you were saying is that this needs to, the word needs to be spread. Yeah. I mean, how do we get this message across to these other churches?
Good question.
How do we
get the
message across to the other churches that that haven't been sharing this information?
There will be moral obligation.
I have to do Facebook Live.
Facebook Live. Yeah. You do Facebook Live. Write books. Try to put it on radio, television. That's what we'll try to do.
But it would be a powerful message, wouldn't it, to get across?
Yeah. It's going to set a lot of people free, empower them. Bro, what will you say to that?
I think I've said it.
I'm just seeing you. Something is going on in you. So I want to hear what is going on in your thoughts, in your mind.
No. I mean, I think I've said, what I want to say. It's just Pastor Neuron and, how he's really reacting to it, and it makes me, I feel for him. I feel for him because a lot of the times we just really feel inadequate. For what we feel our purpose is. And so we always, at least some of us, just settle for the fact that we'll never really be maybe great achievers. Like we've seen.
Everything is there for you to be great achiever.
Yeah, we don't see.
You don't need to be anointed. You don't need to pray.
No, we don't see like that.
Go to church.
No, we don't see like that. We always see that our pastors are the ones who are the great achievers. We don't have the the ability or the gifts or the anointing, to be on that level. So it just.
But we prove it every day by getting somebody out of the street yesterday and making him become like that tomorrow.
Yeah, but we're amazed when we see those testimonies. Those testimonies, in fact, every time I'm watching them, I've got my mouth open all the time. I'm like, no, is this for real? No, is this for real? No, are they actually doing this? Is this mother of 7 actually doing this? I can't believe it. We just can't believe it. We actually can't believe it, so...
For example, do you know that this lady that is sitting there doing the operation, Galina, do you know that she has invented something? And she's not just, she's a writer, she's written how many books? Maybe 5. Then she's invented a game that will help you for your children and your family, father, mother, children, to invent anything they want to invent. Wow. To become an inventor. Then she also invented a game whereby you could just be playing with your children and they will be learning discipline. They will be learning virtues of the kingdom, character.
We can't believe it.
Don't talk to her. So you will never tell. She just discovered that because of these things she's been taught. We're not even making a big deal out of it. Anybody you speak to who has been a believer more than, even this old woman here, you ask what she has done.
Elena.
Yeah. She has her own inventions. I mean, she has her own, she's written a book. She wants to print one right now.
Elena?
At 70. Yes.
I mean, that just puts us to shame, It just puts me to shame when I hear these things.
Last time we spoke about Yuri. This Yuri that you see here, this little guy, he never had a father, he never had a mother. He grew up in in abandoned children home, orphanage. Yeah, he never saw his father, never saw his mother. He just grew up in public place like that. And in the street, he went to prison. And he was having 30,000 people under him that he touched. And 3,000 disciples.
Dear sir, I just don't know. I don't know how you do it. Honestly.
Because of truth. He doesn't have money to do all this. He just had all this only.
The numbers just, I find it, my mind can't, my mind can't process.
Just ordinary human being like him, without no connection, no father, no mother, no evil upbringing, no even parenting. But when he came, he never even read a book till he came to church. He read his first book when he just came. And 2 years later, he was already leading 3,000 people. And now he's speaking English too. And just speaking English by just relating with people here too. Because he knows that everything comes from here. So these people don't have anything in the physical, but they create it out of knowledge, these things and that.
Okay, now that makes sense.
Yes. Tell us what you got.
I remember you've always said this, but I didn't get it. You said that the church, everybody has their own NGO, and the church doesn't.
And we don't even sponsor them because we've taught them. We don't even pay them. Yes. Even those places you went to, we don't give them money. They do that for themselves. Everybody has their own because they just use these resources. They've been taught. Their eyes are opened. That is more than money.
This is deep. Wow. This is.
The lady, she told us.
Sorry?
Yeah, the lady at the NGO,
Yes.
she told us how she would just take a child, one of, any of the handicapped child, and then she knows that each child has maybe like 15 member of the family that will be coming, and through that she will touch all the 15 or 30 or whoever.
You see?
So through a child, she will minister to.
Because she knows that's a resource. So she's not looking at a child like one person only. Everything is a resource.
And then she will win those people to Christ through just
So it is
the
already
child.
multiplied. Everything is a resource.
She doesn't need to go and print flyers.
Yes, she just needs to touch one with the love of Christ.
Just one.
And then from there, touch another one. Because the power to be productive, to be fruitful, to increase, is already in you. Just see.
Somebody says silent night at HMT. We are flabbergasted.
Silent night. That's what Joshua was saying, that I have so much. He said I just realized I have so much from head to toe. I have so much. But he was thinking the opposite. Can you imagine in a country where you have 200 million people, how much wealth that is?
Now I understand when you say.
Sorry? You said
I said,
now.
now I understand very well when you say that the people, even the so-called youth running for office, have no idea
They don't have an idea.
what they want to go and do there.
No, they don't get it. They are too far.
They are too far.
I kept on repeating it, saying it, but
Because during your interview, not one of them mentioned
No, they don't
anything
have
like
an
this.
idea.
They're
They
always
never
talking
heard
of the
before.
oil.
the same thing
talking
those
of,
other ones are talking
agriculture.
about. That's why I wrote the books. Stop looking for a job. Because that's what I'm writing there. Stop looking for a job, because you are everything. Then I wrote another book, why losing your job is the best thing that could happen to you in your life. Why? Because of all these things. So I'm opening your eye. Hey, wake up. You are already okay. You are already rich. Even when you lose your job, rejoice. So those two books is all about that. And then how to live an effective life and all this. God have mercy. Maybe God has already had mercy by bringing you people here.
Yes. That's a mercy.
Religion, I think now I'm beginning to
It's
come to
evil.
that. I think that religion
The
is
worst
evil.
thing.
Religion is evil.
It's the worst thing that has ever happened to our continent. Religion.
The devil just gave us religion and just went to sit down. He knows religion will do a better job. So why stress himself?
Okay, so this is the invisible resources, that, example of it. And, you also remember the way I used it in that. So in 1 month, in that particular dormitory where I was, there were 40 disciples that I had. Yeah, who were all following me. So we started the church from there. We had already started the church, but when I went to that place in the 1 month, we had 40, 47 kind of them following students. Because I was using my resources, just using my natural nothing. I didn't have more money to eat, food to eat at that point. A missionary from South Africa came and brought some candies. I was eating those candies for 1 month. No food. But I had, it produced, I was using my resources. So nothing physical, but just those invisible resources. If you go to the street and see a homeless person, show love. That is That is, you get that person to be your disciple. If you go to the market, somebody is selling something to you, show love. Don't just buy. You win that person over to you, you become friends, you invite him over for your tea. You pass by somebody, just say, hi, I'm coming from this, how are you? Where are you coming from? Hi, nice to see you. Oh, you live here also? I live here. My name is this. You become friends. Everything is much easier than you got it. Oh, can I pray for you? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, pray for you. Yeah, ladies, my contact. Touch people, touch people. If you notice me, I touch people, hug people, kiss people. Some of them will run away and say you want to rape them, but don't worry about it. You know what you're after. But communicate love. Don't be afraid of, don't be more afraid than to act. Act more rather than be afraid of. Because it's that fear that's even stopping you from acting in the first place. Honor people. Was it? Al was talking today about how I fell on my knees to welcome him, and the reason I did that because I saw how active he was on social media, on the platform. So when I saw him, I went to honor him. Honor people. Some people will be afraid to do that before they will think, oh, they will disrespect me. I don't care. I needed to do what I needed to do. That honor is also your instrument. It's also your wealth. What will you say, bro? She was busting out. She was busting. Give her the thing. What were you thinking about though?
No, just
Give her the thing now.
No, dear, it was just, the first time or one of the first few times I saw you in Facebook, you were kneeling down to an older Caucasian woman.
Okay.
I think it was in your church.
Yeah.
And I was just amazed.
Why?
Well, because it seems to, from where I'm coming from, with what I know, in quotes, men of God. I mean, to come and hug you, to show you affection is hard enough. Let alone
honor, respect.
Yeah, that is just. So when you mentioned about Al, I was just like, it amazes me.
What were you thinking? You saw me leaning down to greet an older person?
Yeah.
But that person is older, so what about him is younger?
Well, exactly. No, it was not even the age. It was the act.
Okay.
It was the act, and
So it's impossible
and
for
the
a man of God?
humility. No, the humility that went with that, and I just thought, wow, this is. I don't idolize any man, but I just thought, oh, I want to be like Jesus. I want to be like that. To be able to love people and honor people without feeling that it deprives you of any, of anything. It's just not something that we see. Maybe that's why we don't do it. It's not something that we are accustomed to seeing. It's not modeled, if you like.
No, I just wonder, but all of you are honoring those men of God. I see members and Christians bowing down before all men of God all the time.
Yeah, because...
But why can't the Bible say honor one another? Not just honor the men of God too should honor. Honor one another. No. You know it's written somewhere in the Bible like that?
It is.
Honor one another. So it's not just you should honor me, but I too should honor you.
No, but they don't teach that aspect. They don't teach that aspect. They teach that we are to honor them. In fact, the visiting preachers actually preach, honor your pastor, take care of your pastor, give your pastor income. And they don't even teach us to love and honor one another.
Ooh.
We don't even, in the church, really love one another and honor one another. If one of us can't pay our bills, we can pass that person and go and pay our tithes and our offerings. Yes. And the person can't pay their rent for the month or something like that. Because, you're taught to even give to your, to look after your pastors and to give to them. So to see, you kneeling down, I mean, you didn't have to, but it's just, I just think, Jesus would do that. Jesus loved the prostitute. Jesus, loved the tax collector. Jesus was not judgmental, and we don't really see it, modeled for us. And that's why it's, it amazes me. It shouldn't, but I.
So then members will not be honoring one another too?
No.
So you will not be standing before everybody on your knees?
Oh my God, I don't think I've ever done that. No. It's not that I'm doing it consciously like, oh, I'll never kneel before you. But of course, maybe I may hug somebody or I may try to love somebody, but I don't think it would have even come to my mind to go to that extent of
honoring
to that level.
What's wrong?
But yet Jesus washed our feet.
Yeah.
Yes, so it shouldn't be an issue. That's what I'm saying. It should not be an issue for me to do that. But it's not even something that I would think about doing to my fellow human being or colleague, or I just will not think about it.
Okay, if you feel like honoring them, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't honor. I'm not saying that
how do you express that?
Okay, we can hug.
Hello.
Hug. We can hug. Can give money.
They want you to start.
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Honor is money? Ooh.
I've heard it several times. Now, honor is money.
No, it's not possible.
Yeah, you see, when the Bible says a man of God is deserves double honor, you see that double honor there is talking of money. You say that's nothing else.
Cash. Our Nigerian people like cash. Okay. What kind of Christianity are these people practicing? I don't think they have an idea of what Christianity is.
But they're not seeing anything wrong. They feel that's the best.
We have jobs to do in that place, man.
Yeah. They will fight you with their lust.
You see why I'm a demon now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I think we should, let's try to go on, I think. Okay, let's start from here again.
All your abilities are your wealth. If a man
you don't need to look for anything. Just inward, discover them, bring them out. You see, if you go to the book of Genesis, and he said God created man, right? And then took him to the garden that God had created, the Garden of Eden. And then when it got to that Garden of Eden, before he even brought the man there, he said, in the garden there was gold, onyx, bricks, all this. God had inserted, even on ground, soil. He had inserted wealth and riches and resources. Same with man. So when he got to that place, the things that had been inserted there, he just said, okay, go there and dig, till the ground and keep it. Because till it, why? Because it's full of resources. The same with you. The very first ground you need to till is you. Because you, your land, your heart, your life, your personality is full. You from heaven, you have been load packed with all kind of resources. So you need to till yourself, till that ground. That's your first responsibility. Till the ground, and then before you begin to look around you, you start by tilling the ground, being responsible for the ground of your gifts, of your mind, of your potentials, of your resources. You already have everything. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
All your abilities are your wealth. If a man has ability to speak well, it is a resource because he has good potential to be a politician. Good look.
Not just politician, a preacher, a friend, a counselor, that advice, anything. You can do anything. You can speak. Go ahead.
Look good. He can make an impression on people and tie vital contacts. Be diligent. He can become an ace in the investigation of any matter. And then he can get to spheres where
investigation,
others...
that's trying to say research.
Research.
You can research anything and become the best in that. Okay?
He can get to spheres where others cannot enter.
Because you are smart. Okay?
Matthew 25 verse 14 to 30. For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents.
See, that's how God is. Before he sends you to the world, he loads you up like this. He's talking about God. He doesn't send you to the world empty-handed. Okay?
And to one...
He said that's the kingdom of God. He's talking about his kingdom. That's the way he behaves. So you don't need to go for any prayer session for pastors to lay hands on you. What hands? You have your own hands. Okay?
For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5 talents. And likewise, he who had received...
He's not trading with something else. So he's trading with what he has. What he already had inside. He's not looking to get something again. God has already been faithful. He's already given you already. Okay?
And likewise, he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground and hid his lost money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them.
And we know how he rebuked the one who didn't do anything. So I pray that you will not be, the way you people are talking, it's like it's going to be very tough for you when you meet God. Because, it means you have been neglecting all those. Yeah, because you've just been passing by what God gave you. It's not good because what he gave you is his gift to you, but what you do with them is your gift to him. So his gift to you is what he has given to you, but your response, what you do with them, is your gift to him. Okay?
Do not neglect what God has already given you.
You see, don't just abandon or spite them.
God has given everyone talents, gifts, abilities, and opportunities. Example, parable of the talents in Matthew 25, verse 14 to 30. The slave who did not appreciate one trusted talent was thrown into the outer darkness. He neglected the talent which was given him by God.
Which means that's what most people have been doing. And we know the story, so why should we still make the mistake?
What if the person does not see his resources?
And that's what we're talking about. We don't see our resources.
Make a list of all your wealth.
So that's your assignment for today.
What you are good at. 5 to 10 points. Take the best ones and use them, just knowing that you are already rich. A man does not see his resources because he did not develop himself.
The more you develop yourself, the more you do self-development, self-education, the more you see.